Howdy, folks. Welcome back to our channel. If you like the things we're doing, we'd like for you to hit that subscribe button, hit them like buttons, and leave us some comments. And speaking of comments, we had a request to look at and discuss and talk about self-defense for the Christian.
Okay.
And this is a joke I would recommend for a pocket pistol, a 38. A 380, excuse me.
380.
Yeah, you can hide them in your cell phone thing. That's a joke, everybody.
But if you're going to carry one, that's what you'd recommend.
That would be a good one to carry for up close.
Up close.
380, yeah. The old 380 auto. It'll set in your cell phone.
If you shoot somebody from
your cell phone holster
500 foot away,
it's about the size of a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
You need
up close.
You can only do it up close with it. But anyway, having said that, no, we want to look at it from scriptural standpoint and from real life. And so one of the scriptures that's used a whole lot in that is a lot of people get their belief system from, their idea, what they believe to be right is in Matthew towards the end of the Sermon on the Mount, or at least halfway through it. And it's just in Matthew chapter 5, verse 38. And I'm just going to read 38 through 40. And you have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, and this is Jesus speaking, that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue thee at the law and take away your coat, let him take your cloak also. So, from one scriptural vantage point, depending on how you interpret that scripture, you would say that the self-defense of a Christian should be more in the lines of, is it the Quakers or the folks that are totally pacifist as far as, I don't like the word pacifist, passive as far as defending themselves.
I don't know what group it is, but I'm not saying I disagree with the Bible. That is what that says, but that gets taken out of context. I'm going to say out of context. When you read all of that, they were under Roman law.
They were under Roman rule,
siege.
Roman law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if a Roman soldier came through, they had the right to order you to do things.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, or if they didn't like the way you was doing it, they had the right to hit you or whatever. And that's what he was saying, because that's why it says if they ask for your coat, give them your cloak also. If you go on and read past that, he says if they ask you to go a mile, go 2. And what they could do, if they come into your city and they saw you standing there, they could say, here, take my load and carry it. And you, by law, had to do that if you weren't a Roman citizen.
Yeah.
Well, it says carry it 2. They can make you do it for up to a mile by law.
Yeah.
Well,
you should stop at that end of the mile and say, you want me to take that another mile for you?
That's what he was saying. And because it goes on to tell you after that, too, that the vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I don't know if that's right. No, it ain't right there. It's in James it says that.
Yeah.
But he tells them after that that he'll heap coals of fire upon their head and stuff. Or maybe it don't say it right.
Yeah, but when you do good, good to those who are doing evil to you, it heaps coals on the people's head.
It heaps coals on their head. But that was that was a law. That's not meaning you can't defend. If somebody breaks in your home, you have the right to defend yourself. I mean, we can show you in scripture here in a minute, but you go ahead with this as far as you want to go.
I just, and to be, I guess I'll make this clear up front because it'll sound, because you'll figure it out pretty quick anyway. I personally don't think the scriptures forbid anyone from defending themselves.
No.
I don't think that if
taking out revenge is different.
The scriptures would tell you not to take revenge.
Mm-hmm.
The scriptures would tell you to all through the scriptures you see people like Peter. Not all through the scripture you see Peter. All through in the New Testament you see Peter and John and them. They go in, they get beat. But all that is they are in subjection to the government.
Yes.
And
that's not an individual attack. That's the government.
Yeah, and the scripture tells us that the government rules are there, and we should follow whatever government God has put over us.
As long as it don't contradict his laws.
As long as it's not contradicting his law,
yes.
then we should follow that law and obey it, and you shouldn't be overly rebellious.
Yes.
Now, having said all that, Christians should be meek.
They should be meek, and they should avoid the confrontation as much as possible. I ain't gonna say at all costs, because somebody say, well, when somebody attacks you, that wouldn't be, if you defended yourself, that wouldn't be at all costs, because you would just be submissive to them. No. So I ain't gonna say at all costs.
Just go ahead. You got Exodus. What
Exodus 22,
I think.
Verses 2 and 3. It says, if a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. That means that we don't punishment against the one that smote him till he died. If he was found breaking up, that means stealing or causing trouble. It goes on before anybody reads this and goes, see, this is saying to do it, or that we're reading it wrong. And in verse 3, it says, if the sun be risen upon him, that means if he's already left, right? If somebody breaks into my home and I'm there and I defend my home and they get killed during that defense,
you're not held accountable.
I'm not held accountable. But if they break in and they're gone when I get there and I go hunt them down, then it says, if the sun be risen up on him, right? If he's come in, somebody's done it and left, then shall be blood shed for him. That means then you're responsible for chasing that man down and killing him. For he should make full restitution, right? Well, he can't do that if you've killed him.
Yeah.
This is the Mosaic law too. This is in Exodus when he was given the law.
Mm-hmm.
If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. Now, you go, well, the Mosaic law was done away with. It never was. Jesus said, I came to fulfill the law.
The Mosaic law was never done away with for the Jewish nation. The Mosaic law, and we don't want to get into it.
I mean, but the Ten Commandments were never done away with.
Yeah, the Mosaic law technically never was applicable to American citizens. The laws of the United States of America are applicable to U.S. citizens.
Yes.
And they would say you can defend yourself. They give criteria and they give reasons for reasonable self-defense, and all of our laws the same as those did, and laws in almost every country do the same thing.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, when I say the Mosaic law, it's applicable in that it told how to live, but it had a whole lot of laws and stuff. The rest of the world wasn't even given those laws.
Yes.
So and if you still live as a Jew,
a lot of the Mosaic law was brought up by men too.
Huh?
By man, a lot of those were.
Well, a lot of the Mosaic law,
had
been added.
Had been added on.
Yeah. But not in ours.
But when God was saying this.
Now, so when you read that again, Vic, Exodus, just those 2 verses, 22.
If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him. For he should make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft.
Yeah, and if you went right before that, and I don't know that this goes along with it, but just because we've not talked this through until just now.
Yeah.
If we look at Exodus 22 verse 1.
Yeah.
And I'd looked at this other night too, same as you have, and I hadn't tried to tie it together. But if you look at verse 1, it says, if a man shall steal an ox or sheep and kill it and sell it, and he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for sheep. If a thief be found breaking up, so if he breaks in and he steals that, he's got to make all his restitution.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets caught stealing, right? If a thief be found breaking up or breaking in, I guess that would be entering the premises, and be smitten and he die, there should be no blood shed for him. And then it goes on to say, if the sun be risen upon him.
That
and
means
a lot of people, and I think some translations, don't hold me to that, but I think probably the NIV and some of the other translations put the word darkness in the first one. He comes and breaks in the darkness. But almost lots and lots of commentaries say, well, this, if the sun be risen upon him, and I did check out enough to know that a whole lot of people say, well, if he breaks in at night, you can kill him. But if it's during the day, well, you can see if he's really intending to hurt you or not, so you shouldn't kill him. But I don't think that says that in any shape.
If you keep reading all this, maybe before this, the Avenger of Blood. They had set up, and this is going to cover a whole lot, but they had set up
Sanctuary City,
Sanctuary City, basically. And if I had come up against you and killed you, if I ran and made it to a Sanctuary City, I got away from where it happened. There was an avenger of blood in the family. If he caught them before they got to that Sanctuary City and he killed them,
he was clear.
He was clear. But if he made that Sanctuary City, now,
if it was an accidental death, if it was a struggle,
if it was a
struggle, and you killed me and you ran, and believe me, you'd catch him if he was running.
Oh, you wouldn't have a hard time catching me. Even in my best,
you ran and got to that city, then you'd be safe. He wasn't allowed to touch you.
Yeah.
But if you ever left that Sanctuary City, he could kill you.
I want to throw something in here. That's why you never want a bear to get after us if we're around together. I know I can't outrun him, so I'm going to hurt you so you can.
Yeah,
so I can outrun you because that's all that matters.
Leave me laying
as long as I can outrun you.
But I don't think I'm in agreement with you on this, Vic. That the son being risen is saying that if it's done occurred and he's got away, then you don't chase him down and kill him.
Exactly
or
right.
if you let's say you broke into a house and the owner of the house subdued you and didn't kill you, but and smacked you in the kneecaps and you was down, he can't then kill you.
He can't beat you to death.
Yeah, he can't start beating you to death.
Once you've stopped the threat.
Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this, and we won't be able. I don't think we'll be able to come up with scripture for this. Let's take the lady that's being beat by an idiot male, and she can't defend herself physically with him. Now, give me an equalizer, but I've often said it, and this may be completely wrong. Okay, this may be completely wrong. I know of a lady that's had a lot of this kind of stuff happen to her, and I've said more than once, when he went to sleep that night, I'd break his kneecaps and fall back. I wouldn't kill him.
That would be revenge.
But I'd break his kneecaps. Let me say this: would it be revenge if he beat you once, and that night when he went to sleep, you broke his kneecaps with a ball bat? But if he had beaten you, and then beaten you again in another date, and then beaten you again in another date, and then, if it was a repetition and you couldn't get away from him,
if you couldn't get away,
trapped, that would give you, right, wrong. That's what they're asking is what's wrong, what's right, what's wrong for the Christian? Because the lady I know of, it was her home. She'd get away and go stay someplace else, and he'd finally leave because there wasn't nobody to feed him no more, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they'd call the law and they'd come pick him up, keep him in jail for a day or two, and then he'd get out, walk back up to her house, and go in there and beat her again. Take her, bust her car and stuff up, and she was like trapped it went on for several years.
Yeah. That's where the government's failed you. Your law failed you.
Yeah.
So at some point.
And just let me say this. I personally feel like any man in her life, like a father or a brother,
or
even a grown son, should have fixed that problem.
Yeah.
Now, I say all that to say this person's actually what's right for the Christian to do. I don't always know that I do the right thing for a Christian to do, but I personally would have fixed him. If I'd been my wife or my daughter that he was doing that to, it would have got fixed if I could not get the law enforcement to do it. It would have got fixed. I might be in jail, but it would have got fixed.
Nehemiah 4 and verse 14. This is when they were building the walls back in Jerusalem.
Okay.
And Nehemiah had came, and they didn't want them to build the walls back, but they were supposed to build the walls back.
Yeah.
In verse 14 in chapter 4, it says, "And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles," this is Nehemiah speaking, "and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brother." Right? It says, remember the Lord who is great and terrible. Come on. Remember him.
It tells you to fight for
and he tells you. And fight for your brother, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your houses.
Yeah.
Now, they could see them coming. Right?
Yeah.
They were watching. They had watchmen on the wall. They were watching. And it goes on in this same thing. I'm not going to read it all, but if you want to read it, I'm going to say it again. Nehemiah 4. Nehemiah chapter 4. Just read the whole chapter. But starting in verse 14 is where I read that first, and it go on through 23. You don't want me to read that far, believe me. But it says that Nehemiah told them that they have watchmen on the wall. They were building the walls back with a sword hanging on their side.
Yep.
A tool in one hand to build the walls, and a sword on their side to defend themselves. Yep. And Nehemiah said, "We are spread too thin with watchers. When they holler and say that they're coming, you drop your tools and you come stand between us." He's saying you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, they were defending. They were
defending themselves.
Their property.
Their property. And the people can say all they want. That God don't say to do that now. I want to tell you something. You need to go back and read Malachi 3:6. God himself said, "For I am the Lord, I change not."
Yeah.
Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. I have to finish the verse. It bothers me to stop halfway.
That's why we're not confused.
I can explain that if you want me to.
And I did click through and look at some other people's thoughts on this and read some discussions and stuff on it. And a lot of them point to 1 Timothy 5:8, and I'm not.
Well, I didn't get that in my looking. I did actually look some of these up.
Well, let me see. I got it written down here. And I don't think, and this is pulled straight out of context. Okay. It says, "But if any provide not for his own home," excuse me, not his home. "If any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." And you go, well, that doesn't apply at all. But the argument that these folks were using, and it might be solid, he's talking about providing for your household. If you don't provide for your household,
I wish I'd looked this up.
If you don't provide for your household as a man, and I really think that's what he's talking to husbands, basically. If you don't provide for your household, you're worse than infidel. So what should he provide for his household?
Provide
food,
food,
shelter, protection. You'd think that God would tell you to be sure you provide for the needs of your household. And one of those needs would not be protection. Now, I realize that's just a reasoning process. That's not going on. This says right here that you can smack someone who's smacking you. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say here you can smack someone who's smacking your wife.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I got another verse here.
Okay.
In Psalms 144 and verse 1. "Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight." That was King David saying.
King David.
Why would he say, "Blessed be the Lord that taught my hands to war," right? To fight for injustice, to protect yourself, to protect your family. I think in self-defense, that's what this question was about. It ain't saying go out and pick a fight.
No.
But you come through the threshold of my door, and you better be a man, right?
Yeah.
If you ain't act like a man, I'll hurt you.
Yeah. And I just do not think that there's. I don't think you find any. So his disciples. Where's that at, Vic?
Where's what at?
Luke 22:35. Luke 22:35. I've got this printed out of context here, so you might want to find Luke 22, starting around 35. I think this takes place at the Last Supper, and Jesus is fixing to go out, and he points
35.
out to his disciples that, I don't know if you remember earlier on in the Gospels.
Oh yeah.
Jesus had sent the disciples out 2 by 2, all across everywhere, and told them not to take anything basically with them. Just go and depend on somebody else to take care of you, and you preach the gospel. You preach, you teach. And here, but in Luke 22:35, he says, "And he said unto them, When I sent you out without purse and scrip and shoes, lacked you anything? And they said, Nothing. Then said he unto them, But now he that has a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. For I say unto you that this is that is written must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors, for the things concerning me have an end. And they said, Lord, behold, here are 2 swords. And he said, it's enough. And if we follow that on through, they go on to the Garden of Gethsemane, and Judas comes along with all them people, and this story, we're looking for Jesus of Nazareth. He says, it's me, and they all fall back, and he says, I said it's me.
Yeah.
And so Judas runs up there and plants one on his cheek to show him that's who it is.
And I want to say something about
confessed. You want to say it right now?
That's Hollywood taken from the Bible, the kiss of death.
Oh, is it?
Have you
Yeah,
not seen?
yeah,
Have you never seen that
yeah.
movie?
He says, and then Peter, remember he said, we got two swords here. And the Lord said, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peter jerks one of them two swords out and whacks old Malchus across the ear and
Just his
knocked
ear.
out flush with the sideburn. And Jesus, like that old Johnny Paycheck song, just such he didn't spit no beer in it. And
Yeah.
He picks that ear up, sticks it back on Malchus's head, and says, "Nah, Peter, this is not what I'm talking about."
Yeah.
And I'm paraphrasing.
No, but you're paraphrasing good there.
So why did he tell them, sell your cloak and buy you a sword?
Because they were going to need it to defend themselves. But right there, you go, well, Peter was trying to defend him. But Jesus was saying, no, this is my destiny.
Yeah.
Right?
This is
all through the New Testament. He's saying, my time has not yet come. There, if you get before that, I'm sure it says he knew his time was there.
It was a different animal. It was
a different animal.
First off, it was the authorities, representation of the government.
Yep.
And I realized you had the Roman rule. And these had, I think, some Roman soldiers with them. But
I'm sure they did.
It was the temple soldiers, but they were almost like a secondary government. The Jewish laws were still in place for the Jewish people.
Yeah.
And they were coming to arrest him, and he was being submissive to the law.
Yeah.
And to his mission.
Because
he'd been telling them, they'd been telling them that I'm going to go to Jerusalem and I'm going to die. And I'll rise again in 3 days. I've been telling you and telling you. And they still didn't get it. But he says, so I want to say my piece on this, go buy some swords. He tells, I'm assuming, the 12 apostles, because they were at the Lord's Supper. Pardon me. And if you don't got a sword, you sell your cloak and buy one. So he's not telling them just to go with two swords.
No.
And they say, we've got two swords here. And he says, that's enough. I've even heard preachers say this. He's saying, that's enough of that kind of talk. That ain't what he's saying. He's saying, I think he's saying, I'm interjecting something here. He's saying, that's enough for now.
Yeah.
We got enough for doing what we're going to do. Two swords will work for tonight. But he still wanted them. He did not want those 12 apostles depending on those two swords the rest of the time. One thing, they was going to be separated from each other.
Yes.
They was going to go different ways in different places. A sword it would be like saying, get your concealed carry permit today.
Yeah.
It would, because you don't carry swords around, right? But that was the weapon of choice.
Speak for yourself.
That was the weapon of choice in those days for self-defense.
Yeah.
And he told his disciples,
yeah,
you're going to need this. Get your sword.
You will have to defend yourself.
And while we don't see the person that says you got to turn the other cheek could easily, and they'd be correct, you see very little things where it says they physically combat. Don't see it. So you got any more to it, Vic? Or summary?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. A dumb summary, but it's the correct summary, I believe. Defense good, revenge bad.
Yeah. Let me.
No, wait a minute. Go ahead.
I play some basketball. Still try to, even with this. But playing with some older guys, because I've been old for a long time, and being this guy dove from the ground for a ball, and we're trying to get it and everything, and he thought I was trying to kick him, and there was no attempt to do any of that. He got mad, got up to come at me, and big roundhouse right toward my nose. Well, I just ducked out of the way of it. And we both walked away from that. We didn't have to fight. I didn't have to retaliate. He hadn't touched me, he hadn't hurt me. Now, if you can do that, you can duck it and get back and it calms down. I think that's what a Christian ought to do.
Yeah.
That's what a Christian ought to do. It was easy because I wasn't mad. He kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Because he misinterpreted what we were doing on the floor. But anyway, but now if he had connected that and then dove on me and commenced to beat me, I'd be perfectly in my right to hit him back in the snout.
Even if he had connected and you'd got back and said, whoa, what's going on? And he had stopped.
Yeah, he stopped. And I'm okay. Then if as much as lies within you, be at peace with all people.
Yeah.
But you're not me.
Yeah, that's me. Get a quit, man.
So to me, that's where you add self-defense. If it can be avoided, do it. But if you're walking down the street and some guy comes out of the alley with intent to do you harm, Now, if somebody comes out of the alley and says, "Give me your purse or give me your wallet," do you say you're gonna just have to take it, big boy?
Well, if he'd be found breaking up, you can defend yourself, right? I mean, if he's
That's what he was coming. That's what that guy was
That's-
coming in to steal.
that guy was coming in to steal, though, in Exodus 22.
So I would say
you can defend
scripturally
yourself there.
in Exodus, there it would say defend yourself if
Defend
somebody's trying to
yourself.
take your
No, I
purse.
will not.
Yep.
Now, I want to. You said we do need to kind of wind down. In Romans chapter 12, starting in verse 19, it says, "Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath." Right?
Yep.
"For it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals upon his head. Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good." And that is not saying you can't defend yourself.
That's exactly right.
That's saying vengeance is mine.
If you can defend yourself and
I will repay.
and disarm the disable the threat, then stop.
And stop.
Don't keep going.
Yeah.
But I just there's no part of me that believes that just because you're a Christian you have to stop defending yourself.
No.
There's God don't make one rule for the unsaved and another rule for the saved.
Try.
Right?
That's right.
If you're a non-Christian and you're allowed to defend yourself, and when you're a Christian you're allowed to defend yourself. When you're a non-Christian, you shouldn't be seeking revenge either. You shouldn't be taking the law in your own hands. You should be doing the same way, right, wrong, or different.
Right.
So that's their opinion. That's my opinion.
It's my opinion.
And,
I hope it's helped some.
And I don't think there's anything at all wrong with being armed. I don't think there's anything wrong at all with just hand-to-hand defend yourself or with whatever weapons you have to defend yourself.
One reason I say you can defend yourself, you have a responsibility. Most of us have responsibilities. I have a family. It's my responsibility to take care of them.
Yep.
Right? Even if I'm out by myself, it's still my responsibility to take care of my family.
Yep.
If I just stand there and let somebody beat me to a pulp, then I can't take care of my family.
Then you're just a hardship.
Then they're going to take, Yep. So you have to be able not to turn around and beat them to a pulp, but defuse it. If that means punch them in the nose till they don't want to hit you no more, do that.
I really do feel like that's real easy for us guys to say sometimes. And it's not as easy for a lady trying to defend herself against.
With that, the lady you were talking about earlier, where the gentleman kept coming back.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a gentleman.
Well, the man came back.
Yep.
What do you think they were doing when we read that in Nehemiah? They were armed and ready. Those people were coming to do them harm, and they knew it.
They knew he was coming.
And they were watching for him. Now, that's not entrapment. They didn't invite him to come.
That's true.
They're just trying to build that wall.
That's
but
true.
They was ready for
Maybe
it.
that would be, if you had to advise somebody, would say, be armed and ready. Be prepared because you know it's coming and to defend yourself. And I realize that sometimes not always, as you and I both know, as you age, there's not as many people you can defend yourself with hand to hand as you once could. So sometimes you need an equalizer. And we're absolutely not saying ever.
Not promoting violence.
But I do promote defending oneself. And I don't think God condemns that in any shape, form, or fashion. We'd like for y'all to hit a like. Give us some opinions on this. I'm sure we've said something wrong.
Before we get too far gone.
Okay.
Jesus never physically punched anybody in the nose to defend himself, right?
No.
But see, he had an advantage. Before it was time for him to go, he defended himself. He would confuse people and walk right by them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When he knew they were coming to get him and said his time was not yet come, they couldn't find him.
Yeah.
And I've always thought it's kind of comical. They just couldn't recognize him all of a sudden. He'd walk right through a mist off.
Yeah. A defense sometimes is to leave.
Yes, exactly. To avoid the conflict if at all possible. He had that advantage. He could do that.
If you can't avoid it, blocking a punch is sure not wrong. And you have to block enough of them to hit back. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Come back next week, folks. We'll have another one up. Give us more ideas. Thank you a whole lot.